Hello everyone, Prentice1215 here, doing another commentary. This one is over LEGO Star Wars The Clone Wars Attack of the Crucible. Now, if you have not seen the original video, and you want to watch it before watching the commentary, then go ahead and click the link that's going to pop up on the screen here. But if you have, and you want to watch this, then great. Okay, so you don't have to go watch it first. So, I made this class for my Honors English 3 class, and we had been reading The Crucible, which is a play by a guy named Arthur Miller about the Salem witch trials. And then if you don't know what those are, then go look them up. Just Google it. So anyway, an assignment came up when we were done reading the play. And what we were told to do was, we were given about a dozen different options of how we could go about this assignment. It just had to prove that we had paid attention during the play and everything, and that we knew what the play was about and everything. So we just had to do an assignment that retained information from it. And so one of the options was video, and well, I guess you can figure out which one I did even without hearing that entire thing. But so anyway, a light bulb goes off over my head. I go, a video. So then I kind of think what I could do. I'm like, oh, well, this would be a good chance to do, Lego Star Wars something. And so originally it was going to be very tongue-in-cheek, and it was going to be, the Jedi trying to investigate where a leak in the Republic is coming from, where the Separatists are getting information. And there's going to be, like, somehow they're going to get a hold of Ventress and Grievous and Count Dooku. Well, not Dooku. I don't have a Dooku figure. But Vader would show up. It's like, but I don't even belong in this time period. So what am I doing here? And then there'd be kind of this rift in the space-time continuum because Vader and Anakin would lock eyes. I'm like, wait, it's the same person at the same time. What do we do? But so I get to writing it. And then I start with the narrator, and then I just decide to change the whole thing from being very tongue-in-cheek and just a couple minutes long to a Clone Wars episode, basically. Because I start writing it, and I write the announcements there, a looming threat and all that, and I'm like, well, I knew it was going to be set in the Clone Wars, but I didn't really originally think it was going to be a Clone Wars episode, so I start to write it. And I'm like, yeah, this is just going to be a Clone Wars episode. Which is funny that I do this because the week I was working on this, it was like T-minus 7 days or something until the premiere of Star Wars Rebels on Disney Channel. So that was a little weird. That, by the way, pretty good show so far. I love it. Anyway, so I write this out, and it's about 50 pages or so. I'm like, well, this is probably going to be a full episode of Clone Wars. So then, as it turned out, 23 minutes, it's a full episode of Clone Wars. It's a full episode of Clone Wars is about 22 minutes long, give or take a minute or so. So, there's that. To start talking about I've been talking about the film, but to talk about the details that are happening right now, this was originally going to be Yoda's meditation room. And, these chairs weren't going to be here. It's going to be the kind of roundish seats that we see in the films. But, I could not... as I went to go build the set, I kind of realized to myself, I'm not really going to be able to build the room the way it's supposed to look. So I kind of made it that... I don't know what it really should be. But it's just a little room. It's not the Jedi Council chambers either, because there weren't any windows and there's only 3 seats. So I guess that's just a little... it could be a meditation room, I guess, for if any Jedi Knight wants to wander in there and meditate, I guess. I don't know. It's just a little room where they met. But then, I did have to get the entire, because I wanted it to feel as much as Clone Wars as possible. So, and then also another thing, just really quick, whenever you see scenery like Coruscant or stuff, I made sure to take those shots from the Clone Wars TV show. Just, Yeah, just because originally I had one of the Jedi Temple that was from the one of the Old Republic cinematics, but yeah, I changed it to one from the Clone Wars just because. But anyway, so I got all the music from the Clone Wars, and yeah, I really like what Kevin Kiner did with the score, like especially that especially with the Jedi Council track there, and then. And then this is the introduction of the first two characters from the play, which is a little different. The guy speaking right there is Abigail Williams, except that's not Abigail Williams because he's a guy. That's Abraham Williams, and he's supposed to be Abigail Williams from the play, who is a girl. And then that is John Proctor, who for this film I renamed John Proctor. And then there's kind of a recurring joke that people keep getting his name wrong, calling him John Proctor. So, and the situation in which they're kind of connected is a little different. But anyway, so these are the first two characters introduced that are from the play. There's actually very little. There's only, I'm thinking 5 characters I brought in from the play into this, while some of the other characters represent, like Judge Danforth here. He's from the play, and I'll get to more of his character later. But on the appearance, what he is he's the Grand Moff Tarkin body from I think the Star Destroyer set. The original one came out in 2007. So he's from that set. His face is Jack Sparrow, and then the black slicked back hair there is from the Jace Malcolm or Republic Trooper minifigure from the Republic Striker Starfighter set from the Old Republic. I'll send a team over there nonetheless, just to make sure. And also, you'll notice right there that Obi-Wan just had a comlink that had a yellow light, and Plo Koon had one that had a yellow light earlier, but then, at the beginning, Anakin used one that was red. Well, there was a reason for that, because I try to remain consistent and things like that. So then the red one is the anomaly, and there's a reason for that. The reason is that I was filming. I got that first battle scene finished, the hangar scene where he was using that comlink with the red, and so then I go to put that little red circle back until I need it again. With the stash of all my other extras, which is just kind of a bunch of little small extra pieces that are useful, which is, and they're all placed on a instruction booklet. Not one of the large ones. It's one of the battle pack set, I believe. Yeah, it's the Republic Troopers versus Sith Troopers instruction manual. So as I'm placing it there, it rolls off and I lose it. I scour the floor, I can't find it. So that's the reason that I didn't end up reusing it. Then this is the second character to appear, or not the second, the fourth character to appear that's originally from the play. This Captain Hawthorne is based off of Judge Hawthorne, or as the name is spelled originally in the play, Hathorne, although it's pronounced Hawthorne. I assume anyway. He's from the play. I adapted him from the Judge Hawthorne character, which I was the voice of in class when we were reading aloud from it. And so the voice I use for Hawthorne in class, I ended up using Heath Ledger's Joker. Which, you want to know how I got these scars? Which, I think I do a pretty good job at imitating that. And I kind of started out with Hawthorne using that here as well. But as I noticed that as the play went on, or as this went on, it kind of changed a little bit from the mannerisms of how the Joker talked in The Dark Knight. And got a little bit more relaxed in how I talk myself. And got a little bit more like Dr. Nefarious. But not quite. So, the voice changed a little bit, I noticed. And then for the minifigure, I just used the see, as you could. So then the minifigure I used was the Senate Commando Captain from the Cad Bane speeder. I can't remember the name of that set, but it's the one the first set that came with Cad Bane. I think it was released in 2010. Oh, I love that set so much. Speeder looks, and throughout the years I've kind of collected a lot of the team that was in the Hostage Crisis episode and placed them on that speeder. But so then the 4 seconds of blackness there, that was used to represent a commercial break. And so then this scene was actually greatly inspired from Grievous Intrigue, season 2 episode, which is where, because the beginning, like 3-4 minutes, maybe not even that much, of Grievous Intrigue is Grievous attacking Eth Koth's ship. And then, so then there's Clone Captain Locke, which is what the Clone Commander here is based off of, and then his troops, which came in the Clone Speeder Battle Pack that was also released in 2010, I believe. Yeah, because it had the Captain Rex box art. And so then, you can see the Green Clone Trooper is there, the same design that came in that battle pack, and so that's the design that they were in that one episode. And I don't think, no, we never saw them again, but so this was just kind of used to represent that that the leak had struck again, and it was another use of Grievous, because I really like that new Grievous figure. I think it's really good. And so then here is kind of the majority of it, which when I adapted this from script to screen, I cut out Act 2 of the Crucible, which really there was just a lot of exposition in there that for purposes here, since I changed things around, was not needed, so I cut out Act 2 completely. So the acts that survived are Acts 1, 3, and 4 in this, which make Act 1, 2, and 3 in this. With the commercial breaks and everything. But so then this is the big trial scene, which is lifted from the play. And then this character, this is the 5th character from the play to make an appearance, not including his wife, who has one line. This is Giles Corey, or Giles, however you want to say that. It is Giles. He's from the book. Keep wanting to say that, and finally said it. No, it's from the play. Excuse me. And there we go. And so I brought him over for just this kind of little bit here, and to kind of show that this Senate court hearing thing is pretty paranoid. And then within the little those connections, I mean, just saying that this guy went to Zero the Hutt's cantina bar or whatever. I'm not thinking back. I'm not really sure it was a cantina, but anyway, just because he went there, then that makes him a possible separatist sympathizer. So, kind of the way that things were back in Salem, back in the 1600s, slanders, accusations left and right. So, he was used in this to kind of represent that, and in the play as well. Of course, the real Giles Corey did get pressed to death in Salem when the Salem witch trials happened, because in the play it's because he would not say what source of his facts, who the source is. I'm not sure if that's the way it played out in real life, but anyway, I like this set a lot, because there's a lot of interesting little character cameos here. Because I mean, we've added 2 new Jedi here, because there's Luminar Unduli for one, and then Stasa Lee, that's the other one. And so then in the crowd, we've got the Old Republic Jedi Knight, Zabrak Jedi Knight from the Old Republic. There's a Gamorrean guard. There's a couple Wookiees, a couple power miners, several characters from the Lego Movie. You can see in several instances that Lord Business is there. Bad Cop is not visible a lot, but he is there, standing next to Lord Business. Yep, right there. There he is. So Bad Cop is there. Emmett is there. Vitruvius, El Macho Wrestler, and Wildstyle are all there. And then there's the Jack Sparrow minifigure that came with Yeah, it was Lego Pirates of the Caribbean, the video game. That came with a pre-order.
I'll allow it.
And so I really like that gavel that Danforth has, because for some behind-the-scenes things, you can go to princess1215.blogspot.com, which is my blog. I've got the link to it on my channel, and then you'll be able to see some behind-the-scenes things there. And so I went over this not on the blog, but I really like that gavel because it was actually really simple to make. What I did is I took a Lego wrench and then just two studs that were the exact same color as the wrench, and I just put them together and it looked like a gavel. Sword Nerds Productions thought that was pretty clever when I showed him this last weekend. Last weekend already. Wow. Time flies. And today's Halloween, then I'm recording this. So, happy Halloween! Unless you're watching this in 2018 or whatever, and it's in the middle of January, so I don't know. Anyway, it's Halloween when I'm recording this. So anyway. So then originally in the play, Proctor came forward with a couple of his neighbors, including Giles Corey and Francis Nurse, who Giles was just carted away by the clone trooper, as you saw. And then Francis Nurse does not make an appearance in this. He was cut. Actually, I never really considered him in here because he was such a minor character. But
General Skywalker.
so originally, John Proctor comes forward with his neighbors to try to get their wives released. Because that's the reason that Proctor comes to the court in the first place, because of all the slanderous accusations that he knows are false, and because his wife has been convicted. Because everyone was just saying, "Oh, I saw so and so with the devil," blah blah blah. It's just a big mess. But then again, if you've read the Crucible and know anything about the Salem witch trials, you know that. So then, this presented an interesting opportunity to bring Anakin in to use the whole Jedi lie detector test, and. It's interesting. There's the line back earlier when I was still talking about how the concept for the film came about, that Obi-Wan says to Anakin, "Why do I have the feeling that one day you shall be the death of me?" No one got that joke. I meant for that to be funny because, as we know, Anakin is the death of Obi-Wan Kenobi, except just not while he's Anakin, while he's Darth Vader. So I meant that no one really got that joke. Ironically, the only thing people laughed at was the, I don't know if you, the viewer, got the joke and laughed at it, but in the company I had that I was in when I showed this to people that are my family and friends and everything, the only joke they got was the, married 4 times from Giles Corey and the HoloNet dating site. So, and then there are choking noises right here, but the music was too loud, so you could not hear the choking, unfortunately. And so I thought this, because this is something you cannot exactly do in 1660s Salem or whenever. Yeah, it's somewhere you could not do that back then. You could not have this little Mexican standoff. And so then. I thought that would be an interesting thing to do, because, there's troopers with guns everywhere, so it'd be interesting if Hawthorne grabbed that and then Captain Rex had to stun them. Plus, it's Captain Rex, so you'd want to include him in a Clone Wars thing. Ahsoka's not in this except for just a brief moment. I just thought I would include her in the shot where they're walking by in the temple. But most of the Clone Wars cast is here, because we've got Anakin and Obi here, Yoda, Plo Koon was seen, so there's a lot of Clone Wars cast members. Well, not the cast members, but sorry. There's a lot of Clone Wars characters. And then, one thing I will mark about the soundtrack is that it's not John Williams, and it is really different. He uses a couple themes from the previous Star Wars scores. Like, there's a bit of it's not Bounty Hunter Pursuit, but he uses something Kevin Kiner does from Episode 2. It's a dun 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 dun. It's part of the Zamwizel chase. But this right here, in the Clone Wars film, this was when Anakin and Ahsoka were talking on Teth, when they were in the throne room area, and it was kind of emotional then because Ahsoka was really doubting herself and everything. But then here, I thought it. Oh, I just now noticed this. One of the plates behind Prockner here. It's going to be the first one on the left. I always try to be good about this, but I messed up this time. The Lego writing is upside down. I hate when I do that. Anyway, so the music really fit here. This kind of emotional scene where there's this condemned man. I thought so. I'm listening to it, and I kind of had to listen to several tracks several times to know what would go where. Like it took me a while to pick the Battle of Christophsis for the beginning, and of course I would use the Clone Wars theme for the beginning because it's supposed to be Clone Wars. But that track, the Escape from the Monastery track, that stuck out to me. And I was like, I automatically knew what scene I was going to use that in. And then, with this interesting little development here, is that in the play, Danforth is not a very nice character. He's as much of an antagonist as we get, besides Abigail Williams in the play. And so I thought, well, let's give him his just desserts. So I'm like, well, here's the twist. He's been the leak the entire time. And so, and then with that, I'm like, well, how do they bring him in, or does he end up dead? I'm like, well, let's go ahead and give him all of his just. Well, that's part of his just desserts, that he's the leak and he winds up dead. So, yeah, right here. So he gets force choked, and I'm like, well, who should be the one that force chokes him? It can't really be Dooku, and so that only leaves one choice: Ventress. So I brought Ventress in, and it also kind of alludes to the witches type theme because she becomes a Night Sister in season 3, and she has the interesting arc. Well, not just one arc, but a couple arcs throughout seasons 3, 4, and 5. So I just thought it'd be interesting to use that there, and just kind of a short little lightsaber fight here, and then which of course was originally going to be longer. All of my fights are supposed to be longer, but they always end up shorter because it's just stop motion. So that's the problem I have. So end with Yoda talking. And then, this is the only traditional Star Wars score piece from John Williams that I use in here, which is this little bit of the Imperial March right here. And, which is from the Emperor's Throne Room score. And, that's it. So then, I made the ending exactly like, Clone Wars with the, kind of emotional and da-da-da-da-da-da, which it did in every single episode except for 2. Like when it just faded out to that music at the end of the season 5 finale. Dagger through that was season 5. That was so good. Anyway, so I always mess up once in the credits here, and in a second when it says no Steves were harmed in the making of this film, I say Fim. So, way to go me. So, I don't know why that always happens, but thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.